Ha, they say that my rise to the top is long overdue. I'm just trying to cop a 3-star Goku suit. A better yet, a Senketsu that fits over loose. Equipped with a light fiber microphone, my flow the truth. Don't let these haters rule over you like the student council. Cause if they see you making moves, then they'll never doubt you. Keep that scissor blade sharper than a surgeon's scalpel. I'm hungry like a back alley doc eating by the mouthful.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Pull the Trigger on a podcast. The podcast where, bandages just heal everything. You don't have to worry. Don't go to the doctor. Just put a Band-Aid on it. You'll be okay.
I mean, by RPG logic, just using the bandage item does heal damage.
That's true. I'm Fire Prince Silly, and I am joined, as always, by my good friend, Dr. Sea Monster. How you doing, Doc?
I'm great. Had a pretty okay run of weeks. I'm back at work, and that's going okay. Watching stuff on streaming. Been watching WandaVision. WandaVision's pretty good.
Yeah, that's weird. It's a weird show.
Are you on the 4th episode yet?
Yeah.
I've been enjoying, but they did introduce one of my favorite comic book characters recently.
Yeah,
so I'm looking forward to that.
I mean, I don't know why people thought. I don't know. I guess the show itself, doesn't know like the twist that it's Wanda. But it's pretty easy to see that it is her from like the first episode, I think. So,
yeah,
I guess I don't know. It's a weird show. It's definitely like got a hint of element to it. So,
like she's doing it, but she doesn't fully know she's doing it. But she doesn't. But she also, like she doesn't know, but she also doesn't. 1 second.
No problem.
She doesn't know. Also, doesn't not know.
Right. I guess. I don't know. I keep seeing House of M pull up on Twitter, and I'm like, I don't know that this is a House of M situation.
Well, I mean, that does involve Rob Wanda making an alternate universe.
Well, yeah. I know that. I know that much. I've read House of M a million times. It's just like, that ends with like the near extinction of all mutants, which the Marvel Universe does not have yet. So, well, the MCU doesn't have them yet.
I'm wondering if this is going to be a tie-in to introducing more X-Men characters.
Apparently, Deadpool 3 is going to be the bridge, according to Kevin Feige. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad we're finally at adult Monica. Monica's awesome.
She is.
If anyone has ever read Next Wave, you should love Monica. If you haven't read Next Wave, why haven't you read Next Wave?
Because they're hard to get a hold of at this time.
That's fair. But Next Wave is the best comic book ever made, so.
I mean, it's good. I don't know if I'd go that far.
Okay. Is it better than Watchmen?
I have a mixed bag of feelings about Watchmen in that I like it, but I hate the other people who like it.
So, is it fair to say that Next Wave is possibly better than Watchmen?
No.
No? Okay, fine then. I'll just be over here with my Next Wave.
I mean, Next Wave's good.
I will!
But, I mean, the story of Watchmen is great.
No, I like Watchmen too. It's just, I'm just trying to see if I could manipulate you into saying something.
No. Sorry.
No.
What else has been up?
Let's see. I've got a big writing project, and that's going okay. I finished the first chapter of it, and I've got a long way to go, but at least I'm working on it. Gonna be releasing it on the Kindle store when I'm done.
Very cool.
How about you?
Just work. Just work. Wrestling and work. That's I've been watching the slime anime. I was watching it when it first came out, and then I stopped because I read the manga. But I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I should see what's going on in the anime because the pacing on the anime is vastly different to the manga. Like it's like at like a breakneck pace. So I don't know if it's
Oh yeah, the
following.
anime is paced a little weird. It's a pace a little too fast.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're like following like the light novel, like progression,
Probably.
because some things are happening in sequence in the anime in which they don't happen in the manga. So that's interesting to me.
It's probably going by light novel.
Probably going by light novel. I mean, if you got a light novel to work off of, you might as well. Because they are dangerously close to catching up to where the manga is at this point. So, might as well.
Yeah.
Wrestling's been good. I didn't get to finish it. I didn't even start it, honestly. But GCW just did their 24-hour wrestling event, which I think is like ending here in 30 minutes. Which is crazy to me that people have been like, you know, putting on a wrestling show for 24 hours. It's insane. Did get to watch some of Effie's Big Gay Block, which was fun. I enjoyed that.
Cool.
In case the name was not evident, it was a 2-hour block of queer wrestlers wrestling. They're, you know, them being queer doesn't necessarily affect their wrestling. They just happen to be queer wrestlers who are out, whatnot. And 2 of the 3 sides that I was cheering for won. Unfortunately, Oreo Speedwagon could not compete with the end. That was a rough match to watch, as I watched 2 big bears destroy 2 tiny twinks.
Oreo Speedwagon?
Yeah, that's their tag name, is Oreo Speedwagon.
Okay.
Pretty great name. I love it a lot. I was cheering for them based on their name alone. But when the end came out, I was like, oh no, these twinks are dead. Let's see.
What am I looking at?
Just trying to think of like other things in wrestling that happened since we've been off the air for a couple of weeks, just, you know, because of various reasons. The Young Bucks and the Good Brothers teamed up for the first time in 5 years, which is insane. They won their match. That happened just this last week. And if the Young Bucks can win the tag team battle royale that's scheduled for this week, they get to choose their opponent to wrestle for their title, because they are the AEW tag team champs. And they've alluded to that if they win, they're going to challenge the Good Brothers, which would be really cool. The Good Brothers are signed to Impact Wrestling. That's why it's cool. I don't know if they'd win. It'd be neat if they won. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. New Japan's good. Watched the ace of New Japan, Tanahashi, last night become the never openweight champion. So that was cool. Enjoyed that, because at Wrestle Kingdom, it felt like they were telling the story of Tanahashi's in his twilight of his career, and so to see him like come out on top on Shingo Takagi for the belt is really cool, because Shingo had an amazing match at Wrestle Kingdom against Jeff Cobb that I thought maybe Jeff Cobb should have won, and so like for him to like go over Jeff Cobb, and then for Tanahashi to like take the belt then later, like elevates Tanahashi like way up high. And he is called the Ace for a reason. So, you know, it was a really, really hard-hitting match. A lot of back and forth. And I do not know how Tanahashi kicked out of 3 made in Japan. So that's Takagi's finisher. Super awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't really have much else to talk about. I'm trying to think. It's like anything, like, oh, going back on my hormone medication, which will
That's
be
great.
fun. It's been kind of difficult getting the medication. Like, because I had my appointment, and they're like, oh, yeah, we'll start you right away, which was like a surprise for me. I was like, cool, that's awesome. But then they send it to the pharmacy, and the pharmacy's like, we don't have it today. We're going to order it for you, and we'll have it tomorrow. And then I would call the next day, and they're like, no, we don't have it yet. Looks like we didn't order it. So we'll order it for tomorrow. Eventually, they told me that their wholesaler just doesn't have it in stock, which is maybe what they should have told me from the beginning. And so they transferred it to a different pharmacy, and that transfer got taken care of, and they told me that they would have it the next day. But later in the day, I called them because I was like, what if the transfer didn't go correctly, and then I'm waiting for medication that's not coming? And so I called them. The transfer went fine, but nobody ordered the medication, so now I'm waiting until Monday.
Yeah. Fun.
Very fun. Yeah.
Healthcare in America.
So great. Rough. Crazy. I'm sorry. I just read somebody's Twitter post that they're at Dodger Stadium to get their mother a vaccination for, COVID. And the anti-vax protesters showed up and shut the gate down. So now they can't get in.
I hate reality. I'd love to punch Jenny McCarthy in the mouth.
Right? Like, I'm not for violence against people necessarily. For just having, like, an opinion that I don't necessarily agree with. But Jenny McCarthy deserves to get punched in the mouth. That is...
Like, and that's it. I'm not, like, I'm not, like, threatening harm on her. I just would like to punch her. But, like, Andrew Wakefield, I'd fucking murder.
Well, there you go.
I would time travel. If I had time travel, he's on my list.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
He's on my time. I mean, it's a normal, healthy thing to have a time travel assassination list, right?
I mean, who doesn't?
That's a normal thing. If you could time travel and fix history by killing a few dozen important figures, that's not abnormal to think about regularly. Shut up.
Well, when I think about it, I just remember that time isn't a straight line. It's like a line with it's like a river with a bunch of different branches. So
I know.
I went back in time and I murdered somebody, like let's say Hitler. I murdered Hitler. Then I wouldn't fix the timeline that I'm from. I would just make a new timeline where Hitler was murdered.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, still good. But, just doesn't fix where I'm from.
Yeah, but like if you're going by multiverse theory, then technically there's infinite realities where Hitler died or otherwise didn't rise to power.
Yeah.
So like that's a whole hornet's nest.
It is. You want to talk about Kill la Kill?
I'd love to.
Alrighty. We are on episode 23, Imitation Gold. In the last episode, Mako got her awesome, fighty suit back. And is ready to kick ass. Because Ryuko asked her to. Sorta, kinda. We open on the satellite that will like send the signal to cover the world with earth fibers. And then we pan down to the ship, and Mako standing triumphantly on the board as the Elite Four is like, why does she have a Goku uniform? Why don't we have Goku uniforms? And Lori's like, hey, our top priority right now is to bolster our forces, and Mako's the weakest, so giving her her uniform first is the way to go. It's just logical. Power up our weakest first.
That's pretty good logic.
Yeah, it is. He's like, these are going to be my final Goku uniforms, so I've got to go fast. I'm going to empty out all these dressers that we have. It's going to be awesome. I'm busy. Bye-bye. I'm not talking to you anymore. But Mako comes in just as the Elite Four is about to get grabbed by this giant life fiber monster with 999 of those emergency rescue suction devices like piled up like a big bat, and hits this thing with it. It's really good. And she just saves a bunch of people. The Elite Four are just standing there watching, and the red hair mohawk guy is like, hey, come on. You've been fighting without clothes this whole time. Just fucking get in there and do some shit already. And they're like, okay, fine. Gamgore is like, yeah, we mustn't let Mako fight alone. So let's get to it. And so they each take a suction device and they go for it. We cut over to Nui, who's just finishing up whatever this outfit is that she's making with her own teeth. And she's like, don't get so cocky, you Academy trash. And that's when we cut into the title sequence, which we will skip. Boom. And we cut over to Ryoko and Satsuki flying towards the original life fiber as they're listening to Imamura explain that the reason that Nui's arms didn't come back is because the scissor blade, when it cuts life fibers from both sides, they can't regenerate. So that's why Nui's arms did not pop back up. And they hypothesize if Satsuki uses her Bakuzan in the same manner, that it would have the same effect. Like,
yeah.
And yeah, that's what's happening. I'm kind of like explaining it faster than the show is. But they're like, hey, we should thank Ragyo for breaking it into two. And Sasuke's like, no, you should thank yourselves for like reforging it into two. They're like, wow, you're just complimenting us now. But this is when they come upon the original life fiber, which is just, of course, flying through the sky. And Imamura says that the power is coming from the center, where it's absorbed a lot of people. And so if they destroy that, the original life fiber will cease functioning. And Ryoko's like, yeah, but, Ragyo's waiting for us, so that's a lot easier to say than to do. But Ryoko's pissed anyway, because she did not ever want to wear Genkatsu. She hated it. And this time she's going to rip the clothes off of Ragyo's back. Ragyo is unfazed. She's unbothered. And she pulls out like her own like imitation scissor blades. To which Ryoko's like, what the fuck is this? She's like, I want to make you two start dressing appropriately, even if I have to like, build you from patterns up. These are hardened life fiber blades, and they'll allow me to like defend myself. Ragyo, by the way, is just standing on like a handkerchief on this thing, which is weird to me. I just noticed that she was standing on it because later Satsuki is gonna put like her foot down on it, and it's gonna piss Ragyo off immensely.
I mean, she basically worships the primordial life fiber.
Yeah. So we get a scene of them wildly attacking Ragyo, and she is just blocking each attack, unfazed. Yeah, here's where Satsuki puts her foot down onto the original life fiber, which causes Ragyo to send Ryoko flying away and then kick Satsuki off it. Like, hey, you cannot defile this place with your shoes. And then she starts floating. She's like, hey, if only you'd given yourself over to clothes, you could do stuff like this too. And
There's some really good fight scenes in this episode.
yeah, they're really good fights in this episode. Both of them transform into like a flight bladed mode and chase after Ragyo, who's just flying through the air. But she is still unfazed, even as they go like all out for these attacks.
Yeah, just completely nonplussed.
Yeah, she does not care. Ryoko's like, man, she's tough. And Sasuke's like, yeah, but we cannot, let ourselves be defeated. And that's when Ryoko's like, fine, if we can't, like, beat her, outright, I'm going to go attack the original life fiber. And it, starts shooting missiles at her. And Ragyo's like, yeah, that wasn't going to work. But, I guess the rest of your crew is supposed to be going to destroy the transmitter at Honoji Academy. That's fine. I got plans for them too. And she the original life fighter fires like more shit, but towards the naked blade, the ship. We cut over to Mako, who is eating to re-energize herself, and she's ready to fight again. And we just get a scene of her kicking a life fiber monster, removing like its inhabitant, and then running back to her mother to eat a croquette. And it's very silly, but I like it.
Mako's great.
Mako's great. This is when pods of the original life fiber just land on the ship, and a bunch of more of those life fiber monsters just pop out.
Yeah, the covers.
Mm. Even more so, a huge hook, harpoon thing, hits the deck and is now pulling the original life fiber towards the ship, and is prepared to eat it.
Oh yeah, it's a bad scene.
It's a bad scene. It opens its mouth. It's kind of gross, and then Ragyo is filling herself up. At least she's only molesting herself this time. That woman's got problems. The original life fiber releases more missiles and attacks the ship. They try to fight her back with their own missiles, but it creates a shield. It does nothing it deflects their heavy artillery to the area around Honoji Academy. Blah. Mako is just totally wiped, and that's when her father comes in and bandages her all up. She's good as new. She's like, I can fight, but she looks like a mummy. And
yeah,
she's like, I could keep going. I guess I'll fight. You don't look good. It's like, no, I gotta keep going. We get one of her speeches, but she's totally worn out. She's like, I have to do this. And they're like, you've done all you can. She's like, no, but I can't be beaten here. I have to protect this ship because Ryoko told me to do so. This ship is the homeland of her soul. And the red hair Mohawk guy's like, she never said anything like that. And Mako's like, the Ryoko in my heart did, or my mind said it. So, and then she lays down like she's going to go to sleep. She's like, even now she's asking me to come to the light, and there's a little ghost Ryoko like, come on, come this way. It's pretty good. But Mako gets up and she's like, spare me your opinions. I'm going to do this. And she charges only for 4 wardrobes to burst open. And it's the Elite Four in brand new outfits. And they're like, don't overdo it, Mako. You did. Even Nanana's like, hey, you know what? I will give you an A for effort. Still calls her an underachiever, but this is as nice as Nananan gets. But they're like, this is our job from here on out. What would be the point of letting you do all the work? It would be embarrassing. And we get one big final transformation sequence from the Elite Four and it's really good. Like, it goes through their various different uniforms to so you come to their final outfits, which for Sagayama is the Blade Regalia, Secret Unleashed. He's like half mech. The Symphony
Okay, so
Regalia. Go ahead.
well, this is my thing.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, you name them off, then I'll do the descriptions.
Oh, sure. Nananan's is the Symphony Regalia Finale. Imamuda is the Probe Regalia, the Truth Unveiled. And finally is Gamagori's Shackle Regalia, Persona Unleashed. And
All right.
they're very cool looking.
All right, for the last time, let me do the Elite Four Goku uniforms.
Go for it.
For the last time on this podcast. Sad face. So overall, these suits cover the least skin, and they're the least bulky we've seen, which goes with the in-series lore that, like, the more powerful the life fibers are, the less contact you want with your skin.
Right.
They've got the same basic traits as the previous versions, but they're very slimmed down, very refined. So let me go into each one. So Gamagori, I've said before that his uniforms draw from American comics, and with this version being mostly metal bands over muscle, I'd say he's taking the most of his cues from Colossus, the X-Man. But with the addition of like the bronze-colored spikes, which are very much his signature aesthetic. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sorry. So Sanagiyama, he's gone from having the second bulkiest Goku uniform to a scaled-down, very sleek one, just like the other four. Most notably, his sword, which is now a glowing energy blade. If I had to make a direct comparison, I'd say with like the prominently armored and flared-out legs, plus like the melee weapon, he's most similar to the Rick Dom type suits from Gundam. If you know the Rick Dom suits.
Yeah.
They're like black with the red face.
Right.
They like hover and float off the ground a few feet. Jakuzure, who is now mostly just a bodysuit and a pair of turbines as pauldrons. This definitely reveals the most skin out of any. What?
I wouldn't call this a bodysuit.
Oh, it's really scaled down. It's extremely like
She's
aerodynamic
she's
and like
almost completely naked here. Is what I'm getting at.
Well, the thing is, it reveals a lot of the skin, and it's visually a lot like the Kamuis.
Yeah.
So like it looks most like the other Kamui wearers, but like with a few bulky details like the pauldrons.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the most similar to her Mark II suit, and in general, is probably and besides looking like the other Kamui wearers, it's most reminiscent of the mobile armor type mechs from Gundam. And Inamuda, he's absolutely the most common rider he's ever been in the entire goddamn show. Is definitely the sleekest of the four, similar to which is about standard for him because he doesn't go for his suits are always very slender, very very form fitting. There's not a lot of accoutrement. But the most distinct feature of this one is the large glasses, which definitely evoke the insect type eyes you usually see on common rider suits.
Right.
So you have Colossus, a Rectum, a mobile armor, and a common rider.
Very good. All right, but they are ready to fight. And their ultimate battle regalia. And they just go in and just start wrecking house. It's really cool. They defeat all the life fiber creatures with a single blow. It is really good.
Oh yeah, it's great.
The red hair mohawk guy is like perturbed at their flashy entrance though. Meanwhile, Ryuko and Satsuki are just being worn down by Ragyo, who does not give a shit about any of their attacks. And she's like, no matter how much they struggle, humanity is merely a creature meant to submit to life fibers. To which I believe Gamagori says the hell they are. Or no. Ryoko says it. But Ragyo continues, like, life fiber spurred the evolution of this world's sentient life. So, clothing transform beasts from humans, or humans from beasts. We're their livestock, Just as humans eat their livestock, so life fibers will feed on humanity. Is that not appropriate for the beings who occupy the top of this world's food chain? And the whole time she's saying this, we're just getting scenes of the Elite Four like owning shit. They're just like will not be stopped. They're kicking ass. It's great. While
they absolutely workshop.
While Ragyo and her daughters are like philosophizing back and forth. But we cut back over to Ragyo's like, look, that will to survive will soon disappear. Your last bastion is almost within reach as they're getting closer to the ship. So
Hello?
yeah, no, I'm here. My brain was just like, what is the name of this character? Because there's too many S names.
Which one is it?
Sanketsu, thank you. Oh man, brain. Sanketsu's like, this is bad, Ryoko. The ship, it's like right there. And she's like, I know. But Ryoko gives Sasuke like a little hand gesture, and Sasuke's like, okay, yeah, I gotcha. This is when Ryoko flies up. She's like, I want to show you that we could do something about it. She's like, I want to kill you right now with my finishing move. And she goes for her decapitation, only for Ragyo to... Ragyo gets like a little cut across her cheek. And she makes like a grimace face, which quickly turns into like a smirk as it's revealed she has stabbed Ryoko through the gut. Both of her blades. And it looks like she cuts Ryoko in half. Like, Ryoko's two halves just fly in totally opposite directions, which, when the plan is later revealed, I don't know how that worked, but, anime. It's fine. It's whatever.
Anime.
Everybody watches as Ryoko just falls straight to the into the ocean. They're like, oh no, Ryoko! Mako is just like beside herself. She even loses her hat. And the Elite Four go to, aid Satsuki in her, like, last stand against Ragyo. Satsuki's like, damn you, Ragyo. And she goes to attack. She's like, sorry, you're wasting your time. It was only because of Ryoko, who was fused with life fibers, that you even stood a little bit of a chance against me. That makeshift Kamui cannot even slow me down. And she just, like, is even more, like, unbothered by Sasuke than she's been this entire fight. Which is pretty good. Ragyo's like, look, you don't know your limitations, and the only thing you can do right now is to go keep your little sister company on her trip to hell. And Sasuke's like, yeah, I guess, maybe I am a sham, but it's going to be you who suffers for underestimating this sham. And Ragyo's like, what are you even talking about? What could you even possibly do now as you are? And she's like, I can buy time. And that's when Ryoko reappears, as Sasuke says she's the decoy. Ryoko's fine. Both of her halves are together. And she drills right into the original life fiber. And Ragyo's like, what the fuck? She's like, but I bisected her. Oh, I guess she ended up bisecting herself, so I couldn't get the final cut in, allowing her to put herself back together. It's weird. And Sasuke's like, that's right. She pretended to be killed by you, so she could go to deliver the finishing blow to the original life fiber, which is a lot. It was all Ryoko's plan.
According to Kujaku.
Yep. Sasuke is like, you have no one to blame but yourself for wasting precious time on monologuing at me. And Ragyo's like, oh, I'm pissed. I'm legitimately pissed now. She's like, I want to wipe that smug look right off your fucking face. She goes to attack when Gamagori comes in and he's like, hey, my arms are equally as strong as the Bazugan. So, I am a Gamagori. Sasuke's living shield. I'm here to protect her. Nanan shows up, starts blasting Ragyo with hearts. And Sagaya was like, I'm here too. To which Ragyo says, no matter how much you strengthen your Goku uniforms, do you think a blind man can hit me with his blade? And she goes to block his attack, but he actually manages to get through. He's like, you're not an opponent that I can afford to hold back against. So my eyes have been opened. And yeah, both of his eyes are like unsewn, I guess.
Yeah, he blocked her blow in such a way that like her blade cut his eyes free.
Yeah, which is pretty good. Imamura gives Satsuki back her weapons, and everybody is going in for the attack. There's a big star field, and we cut back over to the ship. And Mitsusuki's like, we could not take another hit. We have nothing else to do but like go all out. He says something about getting naked again. I don't know. But he's like, hey, clear the deck. And they're like, what are you about to do? He's like, oh, I'm going to use the last ace up the naked soul's sleeve. The great naked dagger. And he like closes the top of the ship so that it's a dagger, and they're going to drive it right into the original life fiber. Meanwhile, Ryuko is inside the original life fiber, just busting through until she gets like to the heart of it. And she's like, all right, we're going to fucking end this shit. And she's like, both halves, decapitation mode. Scissors get big, and she goes in for the attack, but wow, it is real hard. Even as she's like throwing in tons of like just like power and weight into this, she cannot seem to get through. We cut back over to the ship, who's trying to get to the original life fiber, but the engines are like down, and their last team of people running on these wheels is just worn the fuck out. They're like, we're doing all we can. They're like, crap, is this as far as human power can get? Back over to Ryuko, who once again is still just, she cannot cut through this thing as hard as she's trying. She's like, but I gotta do this anyway. I promised Mako and the rest that I would, see this through the end. We get a voiceover from Mako who's like, this ship is the homeland of Ryuko's soul, and not just the one that's in my head. I know the one on the outside of my head feels the same way. Ryuko has always waited for me. So this ship's gonna... And that's when the ship's power goes like crazy to the max, because the turbine is just going crazy, because Mako is there, and she is running just as fast as she can in her Goku uniform. She's like, wait for us, Ryuko. I'll catch up to you in no time. It's very straight.
Yeah, her whole little speech there, it's extremely heterosexual.
So heterosexual. But the ship does take off, flies through the air, and cuts straight through the original life fiber, bumping into Ryuko. And she's like, what, Mako, is that you? And she's like, Ryuko! She loses her footing, and she starts spinning around the turbine. But then all the other club leaders in their Goku uniforms are now also running on the wheel, giving it even more power. And Ryoko's like, yeah, I can do it. I can do this. Senketsu's like, yeah, I can feel your blood. It's just boiling. It's ready to go. And she starts blasting even harder. There's a giant star field at the back of the original life fiber, and both her and the giant naked blade burst through from the center. They've done it. They've cut through the original life fiber, and Ragyo's like, what the fuck? That's impossible. The original life fiber can't be destroyed by a mirror. And that's when Ryoko's like, hey, you look all dazed and confused over there. This isn't surprising, because not making any sense, that's kind of our thing. She's holding Mako, by the way, which I don't even know how she manages this. But yeah, she's just holding a sleeping Mako. Satsuki is like, the girl you mocked as a sham will now be your undoing. Humanity does not live for clothing. And Ragyo's like, you waste your fucking time. The original life fiber falls into the ocean as the ship crashes into Anoji Academy and busts apart, destroying this fruit cart even more. It's had a tough day. There are just like life fibers everywhere. But this is when Nui's like, hey, attention, worthless Hinoji Academy trash. The show's not over yet. The Academy and those idiotic uniforms, they were just the opening act. The headline is the act that will ultimately sync this up, put on by the ultimate Grand Couture and her ultimate model. She's like, prepare yourself. And that's when the headquarters, I suppose, is what you call this thing, for Hinoji Academy opens up, and a big robe-like outfit just appears. And Nui's like, the Shinra Koketsu is complete. And Ragyo's like, hey, you did a really good fucking job. Thank you. Here, let me do something for you. And she's like, because I see that my foolish daughters have treated you very rudely. And basically, Ragyo wills Nui some new arms. Made out of life fibers. Like, she just makes her new arms.
Yeah.
She's like, these might not be as, dexterous as your previous hands. So I don't know about your sewing capability, but they will allow you to fight these humans. And she's like, yeah, I've already, sewed my final outfit. The world's going to be covered in life fibers, so I don't need to sew clothing any longer. I want to go kick some ass.
Yep, Ragyo has her own fucking kamui. Shit is going to go down.
Yeah, Ragyo has her own fucking kamui. Ragyo strips down, and we go back to the Naked Soul, where everybody's just like standing at attention for Sasuke. She's like, you did great, Lori. I'm really amazed you restored this many Goku uniforms. That's incredible. And Lori's like, I didn't just restore them, I made them more powerful. And she's like, yep, not surprised. Sorry about that. The red hair Mohawk guy and Mitsusugi are like, yeah, we're here too with the ultimate loadouts. Even though the original life fiber was destroyed, Ragyo Kyurin is still alive and well. And Ryoko just like scoots away from them. She does not like this. She's like, we gotta go destroy that transmitter. This is when Sasuke's butler, Sasori, serves everybody tea. It's very like, yay, very nice. Nananon and Sagayama like cat fight back and forth with each other once more. And Sasuke's like, hey, don't break your cups this time, because we're not going to our deaths. We're going to come back and we're going to enjoy even more tea. They're like, okay, this sounds great. And yeah. The butler is super happy about this. He's like, yeah, I've got plenty of hot water ready to go. Mako and her family are eating their normal, like, just mash up croquettes. And Roko's like, hey, you did enough already. You don't have to come along. She's like, I've come this far, so I'm going to see it through. And her family's very proud of her. Except for her dad, who's like, hey, if anything happens to you, we're gonna sue Kirin Conglomerate for a ton of damages. Which is his attitude. Like, but anyway, they're like, don't fight hard, but don't kill yourself. And Sasuke's like, hey, don't let your family's like love go to waste. Be happy enough to make up for our cursed family. And Ryoko's like, don't worry, we're gonna settle the score. When it comes to being an incomprehensible, this family's got everybody beat. Mako's eaten all the croquettes that her mother has given her. And Bazari's like, hey, take good care of my daughter, because if anything happens to her, I'm going to sue you until you're bankrupt. And Sasuke says, yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Whatever. And we get a cool shot of everybody in all their Goku uniforms and a transformation sequence from Sasuke and Ryoko, which is just, the end of their transformation sequence. Still cool. Still cool. It's side by side. Very nice. For one final time. But Sasuke's like, all right, let's take back our academy. And that's how the episode ends. It's very cool.
Well, hold on. So if you watch, go ahead and play. Have you played the credits of this episode?
No.
Nui actually. Well, when you play the credits I'm sorry. Nui actually interrupts the credits.
Oh.
Of this episode.
All right then. I missed this entirely. Let's see. Trying to find the right place.
So yeah, Nui interrupts the Mako themed credits.
Right.
And there's like a couple scenes at the end there.
Ah. Yeah, she busts in, she's like, welcome to the runaway of death. And
yeah.
This world belongs to life fibers, says Ragyo. You cannot stop the advent of the starseed cocoon sphere. But the sisters are like, oh yeah, we're totally going to do this. Kirin blood flows in our veins. And for that reason and that reason alone, we're going to continue. We've already killed the original life fiber. Quit being a sore loser. Sasuke, I'm sorry. So Ken's like, hey, be careful. This woman is dangerous. And she's on a whole different level now than before. And Ryoko's like, don't wimp out on me. Which Ragyo says, hey, he's telling you the fucking truth. Like, behold. Life fiber domination. Shinra Konketsu. Nui says it's time for the finishing touches, Homaru. And Homaru says, I'm ready. She gets absorbed by this camly that Ragyo's wearing. And I guess that is like the final key to unlocking it. She's like, witness ultimate power, my foolish daughters. And a giant eye appears in the sky. And that's the end of the episode for real this time.
Yeah.
So
this is the second last episode, right?
Yeah, I think the next episode is the last episode.
Or is it 24 or 25?
I believe it's 24.
All right. Well,
let's see. I'll take a look.
I am a fan of episodes where like everybody comes back at the end and helps out. That I'm a huge sucker for that. Like I imagine a mark for it.
Yeah, double checking. The next episode is the last episode, and then we'll move on to a different series.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's so like we start with Banco. So some amazing fight scenes, great jokes, a little bit of heterosexuality. It's great.
I mean, it's really good for like because the next episode is going to be even more climatic. So it's a really good like stairway to to the level that the next episode is going to. Whew.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. Anything else to add?
No. There's not much to comment on. It's very much has to be watched.
Yeah. I agree. So in that case, we don't have any questions, even though that question was up for like a week. So that's the end. Hey, where can people find you online if they want to talk to you about Studio Trigger and other stuff?
You can find me on. I am on Twitter way too much. I'm at Dr. C Monster. That's at DRC Monster. Come and find me on Twitter. You can see me shit post about new Disney movies.
There you go.
Somebody posted this great edit of it. Puts up. Have you seen the picture of the new dragon character from the next Disney Pixar movie?
It's Elsa.
Yeah, it's Elsa.
It's Elsa.
Just a dragon with Elsa's face.
It's her dragon Sona.
No. Somebody has like a Photoshop of Elsa, Sully from Monsters Inc., and the dragon.
A fusion then?
No. Such a happy family. It's
good.
great.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Cool. You can find me, as always, on Twitter at thatfireprincess, spelled D-A-T. You can find me on the numerous podcasts I do. I do a lot of them. Well, not nearly so much anymore, but I do, do them on regular basis, including another one with Doc C Monster called Pining for the Falls, where we do this, but for Gravity Falls, which honestly is a smaller undertaking than this podcast.
That was a reasonable idea you had.
That was a reasonable idea I had.
For once.
For once. Yeah. Considering my other podcast ideas are much larger and much more involved. Because recently I did start a new podcast with my friend Justice Ray, where we do this, but for Super Sentai. All of Super Sentai. Every season we will pick a random season of Super Sentai and we will watch it episode by episode. It's called the Sentai Super Show. And you can find it on YouTube. Right now we're doing Gal Ranger, which was in this country known as Power Rangers Wild Force. That's the Power Rangers where one of the cast members killed a man with a sword.
Yeah.
Not good. But yeah. And that's it. That's all I've got. Anything else on your end?
Not particularly.
All right. So, God, we're going to have to come out with a new a closing tagline now that we're ending Kill la Kill. But until next time, remember, don't lose your way.
Don't lose your way.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Ha, they say that my rise to the top is long overdue. I'm just trying to cop a 3-star Goku suit. A better yet, a Senketsu that fits over loose. Equipped with a light fiber microphone, my flow the truth. Don't let these haters rule over you like the student council. Cause if they see you making moves, then they'll never doubt you. Keep that scissor blade sharper than a surgeon's scalpel. I'm hungry like a back alley doc eaten by the mouthful.